Commissioners. I believe, are there still paper copies of the agenda if anyone should want them by the front door? We have tonight, as you probably already sat through our work session, which started a little early to talk about the Kansas Sky Energy Center. And then we're moving to, we have a consent agenda of one item. From after that, we will do general public comment. So we have a couple of rules for general public comment. The first is that each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time, and Sarah will help people keep on track for that. And of course, that we will always accept general public comment of any length in writing. So all of our emails are very accessible for that. Individual speakers may not donate unused time to other speakers. All comments must address topics within the jurisdiction of the County Commission, and we reserve the right to mute and remove any speaker whose comments are threatening, aggressively hostile, or belligerent. So when you do come up for general public comment, you give your full name and address for the meeting minutes, and you'll address your comments up to us. Just please know that comments received by the Commission and during our meetings do not necessarily represent the views of Douglas County government, but that we value the input. We don't usually respond to general public comment on the spot, but if you'll leave your contact information with staff, we will try and respond and get specific questions answered. After general public comment, we move to our regular agenda, which for tonight we have only 2 items, the second of which is an executive session, and then we'll have appointments, commissioner or administrative miscellaneous before we would adjourn. So with that, I would turn to first commissioners. We have our one item on the consent agenda. Should any commissioner care to pull that item for further discussion?
No.
Is there any member of the public here who would like to pull our consent agenda item? Or anyone online? All right, with that, I would accept a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, item 1.1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Now we have time for general public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make general public comment?
Hi, Gene Dorsey, Lawrence, Kansas. I have 2 issues I wanted to talk about. The first was the Kansas Open Meeting Act requires 3 parts to a motion to go into executive session. 1, a statement describing the subject. 2, a justification, which in this case is speak to the attorney and maintain attorney-client privilege. And then 3, the time and place at which the open meeting will resume. The printed agenda didn't include a subject to be discussed, so I would appreciate it if you would include that in your motion. The second issue I wanted to address was last week, the Holistic Defenders gave you a presentation, and one of the slides was titled Reducing Jail Time Saves Money. They said the cost per day of jail in Douglas County is $226.15. They saved 9,431 days of jail times, which resulted in money saved for Douglas County of $2,132,000. The $226.15 is the rate that the jail charges the city of Lawrence for housing their misdemeanor offenders. And if you really think about it, most jail cost is fixed, not variable. So whether you have 120 people in jail or 140 people in jail, your cost is going to be roughly the same, except for the cost of food for the prisoners on that day. So to me, it seems the $2 million really is the savings to the city of Lawrence by not having these misdemeanor people in our jail. And I would guess a more accurate figure for Douglas County savings is maybe $90,000 to $100,000 in food. And I would suggest you remember that, since it is budget time, and try not to cut $2.1 million out of the jail budget. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jean, for the record, I don't know if you gave your name.
Oh, Gene Dorsey, Lawrence.
Got it. Thank you.
I thought.
And who else? Like to come on up?
Natalia Lowther, 1480 North 1700 Road, Lawrence, Kansas. I am speaking as a private citizen. Let's see, I've got 2 copies of this.
Actually, if you'll, yeah.
I am asking for an immediate moratorium on all permit approvals that could affect groundwater until studies are done and policies established that protect residents, farmers, and businesses who depend on groundwater and would have no reasonable access to public water if their wells fail. This 2002 map shows in black the areas that were not served by any public water utility. Some areas still have no public water access. My neighborhood between North Street and I-70 has approximately 25 homes and farms on private wells. My understanding is that Jefferson County Water District will not service due to the urban growth area. Landowners with bad wells could access city water only through annexation after months of hardship and high costs. City policy is to not create unincorporated islands, so some landowners could be annexed against their will. Annexation could adversely affect some agricultural operations. Residents who could not afford annexation might be forced to haul water to cisterns or to sell their homes at a loss. The basic needs of existing residents and farms must be prioritized over increased development in areas that depend on aquifers. In the next few weeks, you will consider 2 land use changes that could cause long-term harm to Grant Township's groundwater: the site plan for 1723 East 1500 Road and another large project. 2 other recent site plans in Grant County, the sod shop on Highway 2459 and Midwest Custom Pools on East 1500 Road, were approved with little attention to potential long-term effects on residents and farmers dependent on well water. The CUP includes a limited groundwater study, but no detailed economic impact study on the cost to landowners whose wells may be condemned. The site plans have not required groundwater baselines, monitoring, or economic impact studies. I implore Douglas County to press the pause button before it's too late for residents who solely rely on private wells. Update the 2002 map, identify sensitive aquifers and potentially affected landowners, and establish a proactive plan to help landowners recover if they lose their water supply. Please do this countywide before approving any more projects that could harm essential aquifers.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to give general public comment?
Hi, my name is Tim Hamilton, 1325 Naismith, Lawrence, Kansas. And the issue that I wanted to bring forward is to tell the commissioners about some new techniques that are being used at the county appraiser's office, the tax appraiser's office. And these 2 techniques are potentially extremely expensive for the county. And I've brought 2 cases which are significant. I recently appealed my taxes all the way to district court, and this was an issue that never got resolved in the court, but it's out there. The 2 techniques of the appraiser's office that I wanted to mention to you is they have created a new padding on the sales price for comps. When somebody appeals their taxes, their comps that are provided, well, they've identified a new, I guess you'd call it, variable that they've put in that is now raising what was the sale price. So if I have 3 comps that I want that are being used to value my property, those sale prices, which may have been 3 months ago or 5 months ago on a free market, have now been added with a new a little moniker that is called market conditions. The problem is, and the reason why I've brought a couple of cases for you, is because they're not being uniformly applied. If you are west of Iowa, then the sales on your comps are fine. They don't change them. But if you're east of Iowa, they are. So if you're a mile away, your house is treated entirely different. So there's a case, a United States Supreme Court case called Allegheny Pittsburgh Coal, which took this exact issue up, and the Supreme Court said that violates the Equal Protection Clause because you're taking similarly situated properties and you're treating them differently. And the reason why that's significant is if you treat them in a way that violates the Constitution, then another case, and this is the other one I've brought for you, the Miller case says that all tax appraisals can be enjoined, which means you refund all those people. And that's a lot of money. So that's why I brought that up. The second variable is also being changed, and that's the age of properties. West of Iowa, they're changed. East of Iowa, they're not. So if I have a 100-year-old house west of Iowa, I get 100 years of depreciation. If I have a 100-year-old house east of Iowa, I get 60 years. Similarly situated properties treated differently.
Thank you. If you can hand those to Sarah, actually. Thank you.
My name is Sofiana Olivera. I'm 1325 Naismith. I recently wrote you a letter. I haven't received a response yet. And I'm here, I was here a year ago arguing about the mill levy and about our high property taxes. But the source of our, initial source of our high property taxes is the valuation. That's point one. That's where it starts. And as long as the valuations are out of control, we will continue having an issue of homelessness and an issue of people losing their money, their houses because they can't pay their taxes. So the issue is at the appraiser's office. In my personal opinion, the appraiser has too much power. 2 men, 3 men have a lot of power to decide on issues that, like Tim brought up. Now these houses, we're going to value only to 60 years. Now these we're going to increase. Now these we're going to do this. That is totally out of control. I have done appraisals. I'm a CCIM. I've done appraisals many years. The computer can give you all kinds of data, but it is the logic and the brain who decides what data you need to use. And there is no control in the appraiser's office as to how to maximize the values. And as long as you maximize the values, you're pushing those prices up. I did take the time in my research in that lawsuit that was last year's lawsuit of checking how many times the appraiser failed in its valuation of the price that he put down versus the price that the property sold. Many times. The price that the appraiser put up was higher than the price it sold. Those statistics are there. For income appraisal that they did, they gave me 32 samples, out of which a third were mistaken. So the data is not being collected correctly, where prices are being pushed up, and it's affecting a lot of people. So you are responsible for overseeing that this department does a good job, and it's not doing so. And I would appreciate an answer to my letter. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to give general public comment?
You had a school board meeting last night. Is everybody up to speed on what happened over there? No heads are nodding. Patrick is, he was there. You had a school board meeting last night where parents were outraged about the way that the school board, the schools are being handled. And you're having outraged citizens across the county outraged about their taxes too. And they talk about the appraiser's office, but the reality is that nothing changes until this room fills up. Nothing changes until this room fills up. Did you get that all? It's nothing changes until the room filled up. Did you get it all air quoted and everything? Okay. Sarah Plinsky met with me. But Patrick is too afraid to meet. Says I make him feel unsafe. My words make him feel unsafe because I say words like fuck. And I don't give a shit. You know, there was a man named Cohen that carried around a sign that said, fuck the draft. He went to the Supreme Court. Was everybody afraid of him too? Did everybody deem him a threat? See, that's, and you know, what you guys have done over the last couple years, because I started out pissed off at a couple cops. I want to make sure you're hearing all this. I started out pissed off at a couple cops and came out to try to effect a little change on the street. And what I ran into was obstinance, ignorance, excuses, and exonerations. Now, I went up higher on the chain. More excuses, more exonerations, more, we don't feel safe with you because you're angry. Why am I angry? Because you don't listen. You don't address the issues that the public has. That's why we get angry. So this woke bullshit about being afraid of people that are upset about the way their city's being ran, about the way their county's being ran, about the way their school district is being ran, you can take that and shove it up your nary little asses, because that's a bunch of horse shit, and all it's done is instigate the divide even more, Patrick. Even more. Because that was offensive. You want me to come in here and say kind words to you? Don't fucking offend me like that. You saw the way the DA acted. Have you asked any questions about that? You saw the way the sheriff acted. Have you asked any questions about that? And now come to find out, Justin wasn't all that wrong about things.
Thank you, Michael.
Justin wasn't all that wrong about things, was he?
Do we have anyone else who'd like to give general public comment?
The scary guy in the Kansas sweatshirt.
Do we have anyone online? No, you do not. Okay. That will close public comment and bring it back to our regular agenda.
Hey, by the way, for next week, would you please list where the meeting's actually going to be online? I went to the courthouse first, was lucky to make it here in time, because online at your civic portal, it's.
So for our regular agenda, we have an MOU with the city that's been in process for a while. And Sarah, can you kick that off?
Thanks, Commissioners. Yes, attached to your packet, and I've got Chad Voigt here, our Public Works Director, if you have questions, specific questions. This memorandum of understanding was the fine points of the information were brought to you last summer, I believe, in conversations with the City of Lawrence related to projects involving the the Wakarusa Drive Extension South. And all of that is a part of the required match for the South Lawrence Trafficway expansion. So the commission reviewed this information last year, and this is simply us just getting the legal document together. The City of Lawrence passed this memorandum of understanding a week ago yesterday, and I just stand for any questions the commissioners have on it.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? Say this has been in the works for quite a while, and I think the discussions were really healthy between the city and the county on these, and I think it kind of cleaned up, was an opportunity taken to clean up some things that probably needed attention anyway. So I've been happy to watch that process. Commissioners, let's see, let's try public comment. Is there anyone here who'd like to do public comment on this item? Is there anyone online who'd like to speak to it? Okay, that will close public comment and bring it back to the commission for any other conversations or motion.
Motion to authorize the county administrator to execute a memorandum of understanding with the city of Lawrence detailing the obligations for the Lawrence Trafficways West Leg Expansion Project. That got cut off our memo just a little bit.
Second.
Did we get a sufficient motion
Yeah,
for
I
that,
did.
Sarah?
Is
Okay.
that what you needed? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chad. And that brings us to our next item, which is an executive session. Commissioners, if you'll allow me to make the motion that moves us into executive session. That is, I move that we recess into executive session for legal consultation regarding a proposed solar energy project. The justification is for consultation with an attorney for the board, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. Also attending the executive session will be County Counsel Terrell Mock and County Administrator Sarah Plinsky. No action will be taken in executive session. We return to our open meeting room at
Why don't you give us?
6:25. Thank you all.
Aye.
Thank you. That's why we write things down for me. Thank you. We will resume at 6:35. We're taking 10 more minutes for executive session. Thank you. Back. We have no vote and no action on an executive session. So that concludes our regular agenda and puts us to appointments. And I do have one.
Right.
So I corresponded with Patty Beatles, and she is, and I'm very glad that she is willing to serve another term with the HCC. I think she's been fabulous there. So I would gladly nominate her to be, to serve a second term.
Happy to second that.
Questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
I
That's
have
the
an
only one I had. Go
appointment.
ahead.
Yes, I talked to Erica Dvorsky. Erica's done an excellent job on the Lawrence Douglas County Public Health Board, and she would like to continue. And so I'm happy to nominate Erica Dvorsky for reappointment to the Douglas County Public Health Board.
Gladly second
Second.
that. Oh,
Oh, sorry.
got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Patrick.
And another note on this, and Sarah, you might need to follow up. I understand that there is another appointment. We have 2 vacancies on the Public Health Board. I didn't write down.
Harris.
Yes.
I sent you guys her information. Maggie, I believe Harris. But I can move that back to the top of your pile. It was a couple weeks back.
Yep.
So,
So I did visit with both Jonathan and Erica about Ms. Harris. I can't quite remember her first name.
Martha.
Martha, thank you. Martha lives in Baldwin, and we have not had a lot of appointments to the Lawrence Douglas County Public Health Board. She's very excited and really wants to get started. And in talking to both Jonathan and Erica, they really suggest we appoint her as soon as we can. I don't know if others want to talk to her first, or I did not talk directly to her.
Normally I do. I have talked with Jonathan previously about his desire to have someone from Baldwin specifically on the health board. So I think I would kind of lean on if both he and Erica are interested and excited about having this person to do that.
Yes, I'm good with that. And thank you for remembering that note, Commissioner Cully, because it got lost, it got buried for me. But I see that that seat is vacant as of April 1st, which is Monday. So I think it is a good idea to move forward with that appointment.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Martha Harris to Lawrence Douglas County Public Health Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings us to Commissioner or Administrator Miscellaneous. Can we start with your memo, Sarah?
thank you, commissioners. The memo's attached. I added there are a few new dates in terms of another drug court graduation, which is always a great event. There's a sheriff's office is hosting a graduation ceremony for their newest Correction Academy graduates in this room in April, right before the night before our Saturday hearing. So it's going to be a quick change around for that crew. Also we added the Burt Nash Pioneer Celebration. If commissioners want to attend to that, Robin can RSVP for you, just let us know. Commissioners, you asked when we had the review of proposals on the Board of County Commissioners chambers, why certain folks didn't respond into the bid. So there's a memo from our purchasing and finance team in there for you to review. Also, I did want to just announce that, so on Monday, Douglas County staff held our meeting with community partners on opening up our budget portal for submission of budgets for community partners. And so we are officially in budget season, and that makes me very happy. So I think it was I really appreciate all our community partners attending and working with us as we work to an online submittal model. And then we did attach an updated presentation that you got the week before on state assessed valuations from the tax team. And just a small clarification, what we showed in that other presentation related to the Lawrence Energy Center was for all of Evergy. So then we added a slide that specifically breaks out the Lawrence Energy Center from all Evergy state assessed properties in Douglas County. It's the Lawrence Energy Center is still a significant part of our total state assessed for Douglas County, but I did want to kind of point out that correction and that it's attached. And commissioners, just a reminder that next week we do not have a work session. We will be out here. We do not meet on the 10th of April, and then we will be here on Saturday for the Kansas review of the Kansas Sky Center CUP. That's all I have.
All right, commissioners, do you have anything else?
No, nothing for me.
All right, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.